We put ourselves in a place where we don't belong. Survival is a long shot.
That's kind of our specialty.
Come on! Run!
Jurassic World Rebirth chomps its way into theaters this weekend, is directed by Gareth Edwards, and is the 7th entry into the Jurassic franchise, a franchise that I've loved ever since I was a kid. In fact, I love the first movie so much that I have the movie poster on my movie poster wall. That's how much I love that movie. And I'll be honest with you guys, when they rebooted this universe in 2015, I actually really enjoyed Jurassic World. I like that they brought humans back to an island. That island had so many people going on. The park was actually functioning until, of course, everything starts to go wrong and dinosaurs started eating humans. It had what I wanted out of something that was rebooting the franchise without disregarding the past. But unfortunately, the Jurassic World movies that followed really fell flat for me personally, with Fallen Kingdom being a huge disappointment, and even Dominion being a disappointment, even though they tried to bring back legacy characters, take our main characters, put them on an island, have them get chased by dinosaurs again. To me, both of those movies just fell so flat. They were so disappointing that when I heard there was a new Jurassic World movie coming out, I couldn't get excited for it because I just knew what this franchise had become in the past when they had strayed too far from what the fans really wanted. But then I saw a trailer for this film, and it was about a new cast of characters going to an island. This island didn't have any safety on it. There were dinosaurs all over the place. The trailers really did it for me, and I got excited for this movie. It looked like we were getting something fresh, something new. Hell, even the title says Jurassic World Rebirth. But was a rebirth really what we got, or did they sort of repackage things and give us what we've gotten in the past? Well, in the words of the great and immortal Dr. Ian Malcolm, I'll let him take it away.
If I may, I'll tell you the problem with the scientific power that you're using here. It didn't require any discipline to attain it. You know, you read what others had done, and you took the next step. You didn't earn the knowledge for yourselves, so you don't take any responsibility for it. You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could, and before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling it. You want to sell it. Well,
yeah, let's do the review.
Here we go. That is one big pile of shit.
No, I shot him. Bullets in the fall killed him.
So Jurassic Park Rebirth opens up with a brand new island, an island that we have not been to in this franchise, and you find out very quickly that this isn't just an island where they hold dinosaurs till they move them to one of the main islands, like we've seen in the past. This is an island where they specifically test on new forms of dinosaurs. They mutate different DNAs to see what kind of crazy, exciting things that they can cook up so that they can bring new things to the fans of the Jurassic Parks. But you know how this is going to go at a testing facility of giant dinosaurs. After something goes wildly wrong, they end up shutting down the island and evacuating, telling people, just don't go in there. There's some crazy stuff that we cooked up. Stay out of there. But you know, that's not what's going to happen in a Jurassic film. People are going to go to the island, and that's what ends up happening. When we get into the heart of our story, we find out that there's an evil corporate entity guy that wants to get dinosaur DNA. And he claims that you're getting this dinosaur DNA in order to help save people from heart failure, because the dinosaur DNA has the cure to that. And so after his somber story and his inspiring story that he wants to save lives, and a huge checkbook where he's willing to write any amount of money to get people to go with him on this trip, he ends up recruiting Zora Bennett, played by Scarlett Johansson. He also gets a ship captain, played by Mahershala Ali, and he gets Jonathan Bailey, who plays the doctor on this expedition, the person who will be extracting the different dinosaur DNA. So those characters, along with a whole bunch of people that are there to get eaten by dinosaurs, are all on their way to this island where they are going to try and extract dino DNA. And that is the most synopsis that I will give you for Jurassic World Rebirth. If that sounds like a fun time, if you're just in it for the dinosaur action, well, then you should definitely go check this movie out, because like I said at the beginning of this video, it is chomping its way through theaters as we speak. Now I am going to get into my positives and my negatives for Jurassic World Rebirth, but before I do that, if this is the first time time you found my channel. Well, would love for you guys to hit that subscribe button, check out all the different content on my channel. Whether you like movie reviews, Blu-ray talk, or even ranked list videos, I've got a little bit of everything on my channel, and I'd love for you guys to check it out. All right, let's get into my positives and my negatives for Jurassic World Rebirth. The first positive I have for this movie, as a huge dinosaur fan in general, was just the great dinosaur carnage that we get throughout this film. Whether it's dinosaur versus dinosaur or dinosaur versus humans, if you've seen the trailer for this movie, you've seen several of the highlights of this film. There's a moment with a T-Rex where it's chasing down some people in a raft, and it's actually chomping into the water, and that scene is directly out of the first Jurassic Park book, something that they never put into the movies before. And that scene in and of itself is really scary, is really well done, and it was fun to see a T-Rex on the screen. But it wasn't just the T-Rex you see, you get to see a raptor for just a couple of seconds in this film. You also get to see several other dinosaurs we've seen from the past. The point is, if you're wanting to see some of the classic dinosaurs we've seen from Jurassic World or Park films in the past, well, then this movie has all of those dinosaurs in there for you. And if you want to see something new, well, they're mutating dinosaurs on this park, and so if you're there for the new stuff, there's several of those as well. And my other positive for this movie has to be the visuals, whether it's the CGI or the practical effects. There's one moment with the T-Rex that I'm 99% sure was a practical effect. Maybe I'm wrong, but from what I could see, it seemed like it was the biggest practical effect shot of this film, where it's chomping at some people through some rocks. And if that really was practical effects, great job, because it looked gorgeous and it looked real. It looked like the actors were really going toe-to-toe with the face of this T-Rex, like we've seen done in the past in this franchise. Now, of course, I could be completely off in that. Maybe that was just CGI and they tricked me, but the point I'm making here is that they did incorporate practical effects into this film, along with a whole bunch of CGI, but all of it looks clean. And this film was put into production and came out of production through post-production and into theaters in less than a year and a half, which is wildly unheard of. And so if some of the CGI didn't look clean, maybe this was going to be why, but the CGI looks great. And so even though they had a year and a half turnaround for this film, I thought they did a great job with the CGI, and the visuals had to put it in my positives. But unfortunately, that is where my positives end for this movie, and now we got to get into my negatives. And my first negative for this film is going to be that the plot feels so rehashed, like something we've seen so many times in the past. In fact, it kind of seems like when they were putting the story together for this film, they had a bunch of different ideas for some really cool dinosaur moments, whether it was a T-Rex chomping at people through the water, or it was a great high-flying moment where you've got this bird-like dinosaur eating someone whole. Don't get me wrong, these were fun scenes within the film, and it's half the reason that I was there, but the other half the reason I was there was to give me a compelling story, a compelling reason for these people to be on the island. And what you end up getting for half of the people in this film is what I talked about earlier, where you've got this crew of people that are just hired to go to the Jurassic Island and get dino DNA. And that's kind of something we've seen so many times in the past. I mean, hell, the third film in this movie is Dr. Alan Grant himself just getting paid as much as he can, and that's why he goes to Jurassic Park, only to find out that the people that paid him had no money at all. And so these characters go to this island with the expectation that they're going to become very rich when they leave. And we've seen that played out, and it just felt very rehashed. Like they took a bunch of ideas, a bunch of fun dinosaur moments, and just peppered in quick filler storyline around those ideas to give us the film. And that is very evident towards the end of this film when you get into the final act and this big mutated D-Rex, which is something they showed you a little bit of at the beginning of the film, finally comes out, and you see this monstrous, I'm not even going to call it a dinosaur because it doesn't look like a dinosaur, comes out, has this big showdown with the people that are survivors, throws a helicopter, blows up a bunch of stuff. It's a big, impressive looking monster, but then the movie just sort of ends, and you're like, all right. So again, you didn't know how you were going to end this thing either. You just said, okay, we've got this D-Rex. It's going to create some mayhem. We've got a really cool shot through some red fog that's going to look great. Let's just fill in story around that. And that's what the whole movie feels like. My next negative for this movie is going to be a side plot that I haven't even gotten into yet. I won't give you too many details here, but essentially you have a family that's traveling across the Atlantic in their boat that the dad of this family made, and it gets wrecked by one of the dinosaurs swimming through the ocean. They live, but their boat is destroyed. They end up meeting up with the group, with Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, and they all go to the dinosaur island together. And this really feels like they were starting to to film this movie, and they were like, wait a minute, we don't have enough movie to get a full runtime. We got to do something else. And so they ended up having this whole plot with this family that would consistently get separated from the rest of the group so that you could have storyline A over here and storyline B over here, and both of them would eventually converge towards the end of the film. And I didn't mind some of the stuff that happened with this family, but it felt so shoehorned into this movie that had a straightforward plot. We have the bunch of military type people with some doctors going to the island to get some dino DNA. You could have just given us a few more cast members there to help fill in those dinosaur moments that you wanted. But instead, they shoehorned in this family who have no idea how to survive in a Jurassic area, and they somehow consistently survive different horrible encounters that they get in. Yeah, that raft scene I was talking about earlier, that's people that have absolutely no idea how to defend themselves from dinosaurs, and yet somehow they make it past the T-Rex. The point is, this family infuriated me. This side story didn't need to be there. They should have taken that main story and done something a little better with it, or at least keep the characters together to make it believable that somebody like Scarlett Johansson with all of this training, or Mahershala Ali with all his training, those characters could have protected this family, but instead they keep separating them just so they can have drama on either side of this film. And those first two negatives really combine into my third negative, which is that the plot of this film is so weak and the characters in this film are so fresh. I don't care about anybody. Like, everybody going to the island for plot A, all of the people going there to get dino DNA, really just want to become very rich, or they want to become famous, or I guess the one doctor guy just wants to be where dinosaurs are because that's his life. This guy even says at one point he studied over Dr. Alan Grant in the past, so you can clearly see he wants to see these amusement park dinosaurs for himself one day. So they all have their agenda, and because of those agendas, I don't really care for anybody on this crew. I don't really care if they live or die on this island. And on the other side, with the other plot in this film and the other family running around, I didn't care about them either. I thought maybe this is where the emotional draw was going to come from. You have a divorced dad with his daughter and her boyfriend, and then his young daughter, and I was like, okay, the emotional parts are going to come from them for sure. And then they just keep making dumb decisions, and they just barely keep getting out of these crazy situations that make me more and more irritated that all of them are surviving throughout this film, including the boyfriend, who is probably the least likable character in all of the Jurassic films. All of them. So because of the weak development of these characters throughout the film, I found myself rooting for the dinosaurs. I was like, you know what? Let's give one to them. Let's let them get a win, because in the past, somebody always lives, somebody always gets away. No, all of these people have made very poor decisions. They're all pretty unlikable characters. Let the dinosaurs take them away. That's how I felt going into the third act of this movie. And that'll lead me over to my final negative of this film, a negative that might be divisive amongst all of the fans, so let me know if this is a negative for you in that comment section down below. And my final negative for this movie is the mutated dinosaurs, something that I think is absolutely unnecessary for a Jurassic film. We already have big monsters. We have the T-Rex, we have the Raptor, we have so many different monsters that are classics from this franchise, and they just feel like an afterthought in this film for a big, gigantic D-Rex kaiju looking monster that belongs in a Godzilla film. If that's what I want to see, I'll go see a Godzilla film. I don't need to see a big mutated monster in my Jurassic Park film, because I should have big monsters already with the T-Rex or other dinosaurs we've seen in the past. You know, they make the excuse at the beginning of this movie, oh, well, the scientists had to cook these things up because people were getting sick of stuff they've seen in the past. But I'm the viewer. I don't need that new stuff. I loved what they gave us in the past, and I would love if we had another T-Rex and T-Rex fight. Give me something like that. But no, we get big mutated dinosaurs, and to me, that's the most egregious thing about this film. We don't need big mutant monsters. Just give us dinosaurs. It really doesn't seem like that's so much of a difficult thing to ask for. Give me regular looking dinosaurs, and give me a lot of them in my dinosaur movie to make me happy.
I don't think you're giving us our due credit. Our scientists have done things which nobody's ever done before.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
I know I have a lot of negatives for this movie, but overall, I didn't hate this movie. Would I recommend it to people? I'll say this. If you're a huge Jurassic Park fan, Jurassic World World fan, then I say go see this movie. If you love watching dinosaurs on the big screen, because there are a bunch of dinosaurs in this movie, then yeah, go see this movie on a big screen. I highly recommend it. If you're looking for something as good as some of the original Jurassic Park films, you're not going to get that at all, and you should wait for this one on streaming. But guys, those are just my opinions because that's my review for Jurassic World Rebirth. Have you guys had a chance to see this film? If you have, let me know in that comment section down below. Let me know where we agree or disagree. I love hearing all of your thoughts on films as well. So again, let me know in that comment section. And finally, guys, if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button because it helps the video, it helps the channel, and it helps me right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Alright guys, we got to the end of my Jurassic World Rebirth review. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a great time seeing this movie. Again, I didn't hate it. I just wish it was a little bit better. Sure, it was better than Fallen Kingdom and Dominion, but that was already a low bar. Alright, I've talked about this movie enough. If you want to check out any of the other content on my channel, well, I've got all of my best and worst of 2025 right there, and I've got all of my 2025 movie reviews right there.